looking for a lover. Nobody understood where I've been. I guess I thought I needed more time to protect my love from potential offense. So I then you came around and you played it, but I shut it down. So you took it down, and I'm not surprised by what I found. 'Cause I know I needed something different, and it had to be you. Out the blue, somebody who would listen, and it had to be you. Out of all the people to revive my love, couldn't be just anyone. My baby, it had to be you. I didn't seem to notice that you were checking for me. We were just friends. But we started building trust, and my fragile heart started to bend. Yeah. I should have paid attention. You would have been the obvious choice. But I needed time to see clearly, dig deep and cut through the noise. So then you came around and you made it, but I shut it down. So you took it down, and I opened up. Not surprised by what I found. 'Cause I know I needed something different, and it had to be you. Out the blue, somebody who would listen, and it had to be you. Out of all the people to revive my love, couldn't be just anyone. My baby, it had to be you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Beautiful Monday morning. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed to be men. And of course, sucker MCs get dealt with. Hey, listen, wherever you might be listening, please take a second to like and in particular share today's show. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. As you can see, at least from today's cover art, I want to talk about what happened over the weekend, including some of these unhinged Trump supporters, plus a few things that I want to leave in 2020. I don't want you coming to 2021 at all. We'll discuss it all this morning. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show that focuses on the Black community. Again, please take a second to like and in particular share today's show, family. We'll get started in 60 seconds.
Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Well, I hope that my voice is finding you in a great place this morning, family. Come on in. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. As I said before, men are allowed to be men, and of course, sucker MCs get dealt with. Welcome to the show this morning to you. Many things to discuss. Let me make sure my microphone is doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. I need to share the show real quick, family. Make sure that as many people can see us as possible. You know, I want to share the gospel of flow with everybody this morning. And I want to talk about it with you here first this morning, about everything that's going on. It's a few things, actually more than a few things that I want to discuss with you this morning. 513-873-7134. So let me just take a second to share this in as many spaces that I know of. It's just like I asked you to do as well. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well, as I said already a few times. One of my favorite parts about doing a morning show, and I love doing a morning show, I'm not really a morning person. That might surprise you, right? Because I'm up early, especially during the weekdays. I'm not really a morning person, but I've developed into a morning person. I've turned myself into a morning person just by doing the morning shows over the last, I guess, a decade. Let's keep it real. But I love getting up early and saying good morning to you from the Cincinnati area, being one of the first people to talk about the topics. I love it. I live for this. Good morning to you. Many things to discuss. If at any point during the show you should think, well, you might think, hey, I want to share my thoughts. Hey, please feel welcome. All viewpoints are welcome. All I ask is that you open your mind before you open your mouth. The wise words of Buchos, or else a tis with a flick of the wrist, which I may have to more forcefully enforce that, judging by some of our more recent calls. It is what it is. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Hey, listen, if there's something on your radar screen and you're like, Nate, is he aware of this? Hey, shoot us a link. Shoot me a link. You know, I'll try my best to keep up with you. Good morning to the Choppers, the folks that hold me down. Viva la Choppers. Hope you had a great weekend. What did you do? What did you do over the weekend? What was your weekend like? Get a chance to get out in the city? And you live in Cincinnati area? Get a chance to get a little exercise in? Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Looks like Trump has finally conceded in his own Trumpian way. We saw Obama on 60 Minutes over the weekend, speaking the way Obama normally does. And we saw thousands, if not tens of thousands of Trump supporters hit the streets in American cities, protesting the fact that they think that the election was stolen. Again, we're living in the last days of common sense. It is what it is, family. We're going to have to ride this out together. COVID is still winning. If there was a championship, COVID would be the U.S. champion, if not the world champion. You know, I wish that we can leave COVID in 2020. Let me give you a quick list of things I want to leave in 2020. Number one, I want to leave Trump in 2020. I want to leave Trump and all his Trump supporters in 2020. But I'm here to tell you, family, that's not a reality. That is not going to happen. If it's not clear and obvious to you at this point, I don't know what more you need. These Trump supporters are not going away. And I'll say it again. If you're somebody who is invested in Democrat policies, or it's your job to get Democrats elected, you should be paying attention and asking yourself why. You know, not at the sacrifice of black voters, though. We can't have that. We won't have that. But you should be asking yourself, what the hell is up? I'm seeing the rise of a new Tea Party, right? We'll see it. The deficit, right? Now that we got a Democrat in the White House, everybody will be talking about the deficit all of a sudden. It's important again. Wait for it. But I'm here to tell you, Karen Darren and Darren are not going anywhere. They ain't going nowhere. You know, it's like a malignant tumor. And it's going to metastasize and spread over the body of all of our politics if it hasn't already. They are not going away. They will be heard. What does that mean for you and me? Well, I've got a few tips for you. I wish I could leave Trump and all his Trump supporters in 2020, but I know we cannot. But if I had a wish list, I'd put Trump on there. I'd also put Monique on there as well. Someone posted in the friends page that she's still whining about Oprah and Lee Daniels. I mean, I know she got this lawsuit against Netflix. You know, on some levels, I wish the sister well. I don't want my Netflix prices to go up, but I want the sister to get what she deserves. But all this belly aching about what Oprah did and they cost me generational wealth. I mean, listen, it's the price you got to pay. It is what it is. I don't want to leave her. I want to leave the whining from her in 2020. I want to leave John Gray in 2020. I'm just tired of the story. I'm tired. I don't want no more apologies. No more freaking apologies about emotional relationships, affairs, or whatever. I'll put it out there again because I didn't really get a response on it, but emotional affairs in 2020, Nico, we're talking about COVID. Speaking of COVID, I got a clip for you, a video and audio clip of a white male who is allegedly one of the first people to do like the trial vaccine. And again, how much money they got to pay you so you can be one of the human guinea pigs for COVID-19? But he did it. He went through like the first trial, and I watched the video, and it didn't give me any comfort whatsoever. I didn't get any comfort from it whatsoever. Here in the city of Cincinnati, I saw this on social media. There was a reporting of the fact that some young people got shot in a neighborhood here in the city of Cincinnati. I think it was 4 or 5 people that were rushed to the hospital. And when I read it, I thought, you know what? All this stuff about the national politics comes crashing back. All politics are local. What happens in Washington matters, family, but what happens and what we do here at home, what we do here in Cincinnati, what you do wherever you live, that's what matters the most. That is what matters the most. And what are we going to do about it? Let's talk about it this morning. 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts this morning, I am here to receive them. Again, all I ask is that you open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. Other than that, it's all good. We can agree to disagree, hopefully without being disagreeable. If it goes that way, it goes that way, and we'll just move on. But again, all opinions are welcome. You don't have to agree with the host. You might say, you know what, this dude, what is this dude talking about? You are well within your right to anything you want. So before we get too deep into the show, I want to go straight to the choppers. You know what I'm saying? Let me start right there. This morning by saying good morning to Ashley. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Clue Magic writes, Grand Risings, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Clue. Chocolate Girl Wonder writes, good morning, Choppers. Hashtag We Day. Is that like a yellow heart for the Steelers? What? Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, that's right. You roll with the Steelers. Yeah, I don't know. I got a buddy of mine was telling me about it. I'm completely unplugged from the Bengals. He told me about it on Saturday. I forgot about it until just now, quite honestly. So I again, call me what you want to call me. I've unplugged from the Bengals. I'll check back in when they start winning. Yeah, I'm one of those. Yeah. Yeah, like, for certain sports towns, they try to hit you with that, oh, you're a bandwagoner, but they deserve it. They kind of do. They don't deserve my 24/7 attention. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I saw the score early this morning and forgot about it just until now, CG Dub. So I know all my Steeler fans out there. And I'm not saying this is you, CG Dub, but I got a couple of friends. I got at least one friend that wasn't born in Cincinnati. He was raised in Cincinnati. He went to school in Pittsburgh. He might be listening right now. He's living down in Atlanta right now. And this mofo is a Steeler fan. Now, how you going to be raised in Cincinnati and grow up and become a Steeler fan? Now, that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Brother Mazone writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you, Brother Mazone. Tracy writes, hi. Good morning to you, Tracy. Ms. D writes, greetings. Good morning, Miss D. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag Team NI. Good morning to you, Jared. Brenda writes, happy Monday. It is a happy Monday. My weekend was great. It was busy, quite honestly. Saturday, the afternoon was shooting a promotional video for CDM. It's a little cold outside. We were downtown. I posted just a little bit of a clip of what we were doing outside of City Hall. If you're in the Friends, like the Nathan Ivey Show page, you might have seen it. You check it out over there. Just a photograph of me standing in front of cameras. nothing too big. Family time, work. It's about that. Work, exercise. Got a lot of family time in. We spent some time with my children, man. Oh man, beautiful children. The wind beneath my sails, what they say. So we spent some family time doing what families do. It was a good time. Ray writes, Grand Risings all. Brian writes, good morning. Cassandra writes, hey, Chopper, Steelers are 9-0. So it's an amazing Monday. Hashtag We Day. Wait a minute, another one? Wait a minute, another one? And somewhere Kruth is out there too. Huh? Okay, well, listen, to all the choppers, the Steeler fans, you go ahead and enjoy it. I know that's important to you or whatever. You go ahead and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Your team is 9-0. They're 9-0. Again, I'm completely unplugged from the NFL. That's just me at this point. It is what it is. Like, I didn't even know that the Reds had a Cy Young winner until over the weekend. I had no idea. I get like that sometimes. I get tunnel vision about certain things. It is what it is. Call it a defense mechanism. In a sports town where typically, the teams don't do too well, it becomes a defense mechanism. Tracy writes, we got to be concerned with super spreaders here. I saw a super spreader at Code 51 Saturday. Foolishness. Talking about COVID-19. Yeah, you already know I'm tearless and fearless about these. I have no tears for COVID deniers and super spreaders and all this kind of stuff. To me, it's real clear. We'll work everything else out. If we got to shut it down, shut it down. Speaking of which, just to put everybody's fears at rest, at this point, it looks like the advanced sort of indication that we're getting from the incoming administration, the Joe Biden administration, is that they're not going to shut ish down. They're not going to shut ish down. They're not going to come in and say, listen, we got to have a national shutdown. Okay, that's great. Somebody took a shot at Boosie down in Dallas, shot him in the leg. Did he get shot in the leg, I think it was? Or shot at him. Yeah, y'all shooting at Boosie now? And for my fight fans, you got the big fight this looming. You got Roy Jones Jr. and Iron Mike Tyson. I ain't looking forward to it because it doesn't seem like it's a real fight. Is that really a real fight? Are they going to be fighting for real? Or is this like an exhibition? I ain't really all that excited about it, but maybe as the day comes or the day of, I'll get a little bit more excited about it. Right now, I'm like, meh, take it or leave it. Probably leave it. Not really my thing. Fight fans will correct me. Let me see. King Cobra writes, I bet FC. T. Lawrence Graston, JD writes, good morning, Alt Middle, a.k.a. Black Russia. Good morning to you. Yeah, man. I got a chance to finally see that press conference of your boys, from your boys' attorney, speaking about Jeff Pastor. We'll see how this goes, fam. The whole, I was running the op on the op kind of thing. I was running a sting operation on the sting operation. We'll see how that goes. My spider sense tells me, maybe not so good. Nah. Because my thing is, where's the money at? Like if Jeff Pastor was running a sting on the sting and it really wasn't about the dollars, then where's the $55,000? Maybe he's got it already. Maybe the lawyers got it right now. I don't know who that guy is, but he looks expensive. That's what he looks like. The first time I really paid attention to the guy who's representing Jeff Pastor at this point, he just looks expensive. That's all I'll say. Mason Mahler writes, morning Nate in the choppers, hashtag flows rated E for everybody, hashtag went to MAGA March and got no hugs, hashtag the Dems are not the Botham John party, hashtag you can't fix stupid. Oh yeah, I got the video for you. It's all over social media here. These cats was all in they marching for Trump. Matter of fact, as the cover says today, and I got it for you, I'll play it for you. They had a MAGA march, right, where one unhinged Trump supporter says, it's our time to rise. This is a quote. It's our time to rise. We will not go down without bloodshed. This is what the man said. Then he said, he don't give a damn if the media quotes him. Quote me if you want to, he says. And I think that if we're smart, we should take them for their word. I believe everything that they're saying. I'm not one of these COVID deniers. I don't think that the earth is flat. I don't think the moon is made out of cheese. And I take a human being for their word. If that's what he says, that's what he says. If that's what he feels, that's what he feels. It is what it is. And I agree with that. Like, we saw what happened, and see, a lot of this had to do with racism, but they said it was all about the deficit and the Constitution and the deficit. Negro, please, that was racism. The Tea Party, the blood, the energy of the Tea Party, the battery in their back was racism. They was afraid of a black and brown America, simple as that. And having a black and or brown president scared the bejesus out of them. So they start talking about all this 1776 type stuff. Forget all about Crispus Attucks, didn't they? All this 1776, we the people and all this kind of stuff. Knock it off. They're going to do it again with Joe Biden. They're going to do it again with Joe Biden because 30 to 40% of the population, they in their feelings, they in their head. And Trump is their leader. It is what it is. You can say what you want to say. You can say, oh, this is stupid. You can say if you want to, homie. But it is what it is. You can see it right in front of you. Smart people don't deny what's in front of them. That's only not smart people. Good morning to you. Hey, listen, if you missed it, circle back around on our CDM page and check out the Is It Just Me podcast. Donnie had a very interesting conversation with Yvette Simpson. I thought it was wide-ranging in terms of talking about national stuff and what's happening in Georgia. They touched a little bit of Ice Cube. They talked about Jeff Pasha a little bit. You circle back around and check that out. Also check out the Dope Chicks Collective. On yesterday, they talked about black skincare. That's something you're into. You talk about it. Check them out. Get some tips. Of course, Midday Juice as well. And many more black voices to be amplified here in the greater Cincinnati area. I'm looking forward to it. I'll put it out there again. If you ever thought about doing a podcast or a live stream, perhaps we can work together. Hit me with a direct message. Let's do it. Maybe we can. I'm down. I'm open. So many folks. So for me, my arms only stretch so far. So I have to stretch out to the folks that are around me. You know what I'm saying? So if you know someone who's doing something great, let me know. Let me know. You know, hit me with a link to their Facebook page or their website. I'll check it out and I'll do the rest myself. Real simple. I 100% believe in this mission. Good morning to you. Hey, listen, please take a second to like and in particular share today's show. When you share the show, more people see it. That's it. Real simple. When you share the show, more people see it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Good morning to you. Good to see you. I'm still inside the chop shop. Karen and Darren gonna get their ass whooped. This is 2020, not 1820. Well, you know that's right, Brother Mazone. It's a whole new breed of black folks out there that's not playing any games and not taking any losses. And some of the videos I saw over the weekend, some of these Trump supporters are in bad shape. At least the ones I saw. Like in prep for today's show, I watched all the videos because I plan on talking about them and showing them to you this morning. And then I watched this 60 Minutes piece about the Michigan militia. And it's like, why you run around here doing all these operations, you know, how to breach a house. You might want to mix in some push-ups, some sprints. You know what I'm saying? You might want to do that. Some of these dudes, I saw a video of this Trump supporter got laid straight out. 2 of them. Belly way out here. I'm like, come on, dude. You squaring up with this young buck. You're not in shape for that. All bark and no bite. You're not in shape for that. You need to chill, man. Stay in your lane. Know your limitations. It's real simple. Because if you don't, then bad things are going to happen. I want you to check this out real quick. I'm going to play this for you. You got to see this. It's crazy. Check this out.
Staples places your work.
That's not it.
It's your time to rise. Whether Donald Trump wins or not, it's your time to rise. Because we will not go down without a fight. We will not go down without bloodshed.
Did you hear that? Hold on one second. Let me do a little something on my end to make sure you can actually see the image that goes along with it. Give me 1 second here. You heard it though? He said, we ain't going down without a fight. We're not going down without bloodshed. And I'm like, dude, who are you talking to? Like, this sounds all good when you're surrounded by your homies. But when you get some other people with different opinions out there, things are going to change real quick. Sorry about that. Check this out. I want you to check this out.
It's your time to rise. Whether Donald Trump wins or not, it's your time to rise. Because we will not go down without a fight. We will not go down without bloodshed. I don't care. I don't care. The media can take what I say and say that I'm violent. I don't care. Antifa and Black Lives Matter brought us to this point.
I just had
If
David
they want to fight, then they got one.
I think I've been here before.
He said he's not afraid of communists. This is ridiculous, man. A couple things. What I will say to that Trump supporter is you're not the only one that feels that way, homie. There's a lot of folks out there that feel the same way. We ain't going down without a fight either. So you need to know that. It's not a one-way street. That's a two-way street. You know, they didn't start making whatever you have when you bought it. Those things are still available to other people to purchase, whatever they may be. Two, he said Antifa, which is anti-fascist. And again, I really think there's a level of education needs to go on about these organizations. And then Black Lives Matter. I mean, Black Lives Matter is running around here trying to get policy passed and paint murals on the ground. They're harmless too. They ain't trying to start no revolution. The revolution they're trying to, not a physical, like civil war, bloodshed kind of revolution, not what I've seen. They're out here on something completely different. But I mean, you know, whatever sells. These communists, the communists helped your boy Trump get in office back in 2016. You ain't got nothing to say about that, huh? Telling you, this is what we're up against. This is what we're up against. And by we, I mean those of us who have common sense, black and white, young and old, rich and poor, working and non-working. We are up against a whole new generation of people out there who have just something else in their brains. And there is a way to beat them. There is a way to beat them. There is a way to beat them. I shared with you this morning, 513-873-7134. We got to roll together. That's just the essence of it. Mason Marler writes, what's up? What's up to you? Ken Klobuchar writes, the Trumpsters so confused they didn't know if they wanted 4 more years or 4 more beers at their march. He said they were so confused they didn't know if they wanted 4 more years or 4 more beers. That's hilarious. Probably both. Probably 4 more beers. Yeah, that makes sense. 4 more. That is hilarious, man. Oh, man. We'll go ahead and rack them on that one. Fox rise and shine, young stars. There's Cruther. She writes, good morning, Steeler fans. There you go. There you go. It is what it is. Cincinnati is Steeler Nation 2.0. It's more Steeler fans than Bengals fans here. Really? I don't understand it, but do you? Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Mike Jones writes, good morning, Choppers. Cassandra writes, agreed. Is that right? Crawford should show why he is pound for pound champ on Saturday. Yeah, I did see, not the fight itself, but I saw the clips afterward on YouTube. Somebody writes, damn, it's cold outside. Brent writes, Grand Risings family. Pat writes, good morning to you. Good to see everybody. That's because they feel the only thing they have to work out and exercise is their trigger finger. They are not about to square up with their punk asses. Right, that's what it looks like. Jace writes, can't hear it on Spreaker. Yeah, I've had that issue, Jace. Good morning to you. These are those whites Chappelle was talking about in his monologue. Right. I know the whites. Yeah. Oh man, listen, that's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's all kinds of videos out there. What went down in DC, the Proud Boys. They love Donald Trump. They went head to head with, I guess, anti-Proud Boys or Black Lives Matter or whoever was in the streets. Again, I don't know. I have all the details. I just saw what happened afterward. And they're complaining because the votes got counted and their guy lost. Again, there's no evidence whatsoever of any voter fraud that would amount to changing any states. In Georgia, they're doing a whole statewide recount, but all indications are that it's not going to change a damn thing. But these folks out here is in their feelings because their guy lost. That's like you played a lottery, and because you lose, the lottery has to be rigged against you. And it don't work that way. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's simple as that. It reminds me of my little brother. Like, I got a little brother who's right underneath me. His name is Kareem. And he might be listening. What's up, bro? I'm going to talk about you for a second. We can't even play video games together. I learned this a long, long time ago, back when we were still younger, living in my mother's house. We can't play video games together. Because my little brother's the type that whenever he loses, the computer is out to get him. Literally. No. The computer's doing him wrong. The computer, as in the console, the Xbox or the PlayStation. I think back then it was probably PlayStation. The PlayStation just didn't like my little brother. It liked me better. Really? It's the craziest thing ever. We got to the point where I just got, I ain't doing this no more with you, bro. He get on the stick. As soon as he get that ass whoop, all of a sudden, what? The computer don't like me, man. This is back in like the, I don't know, late 80s, mid 80s, something like that. Nintendo don't like me. Huh? Yeah, man, Nintendo don't like me. This is like mid 80s. I guess the AI was just so far ahead at our house that the AI in the Nintendo, even though it was a cartridge-based, system, was somehow knew who he was, could detect just because of, I guess, his thumbprints, and was out to get him and just didn't like him on some iRobot type stuff. So it's that same kind of mentality. It's like if you don't win, the game was rigged. I think it's hilarious at some levels. I do. I think it's absolutely hilarious on some levels. Good morning, everybody. I'm now on Facebook. Jane writes, good morning. Brandy writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Frenae writes, good morning. Brenda writes, good morning from Fairfield. What's up in Fairfield? Florida writes, Florida family writes, good morning. Good to see you. Maxine writes, grand risings, everyone. Let the Most High rise and his enemies be scattered. We will see who is on his side. The righteous queen, Maxine. Hey, good to see you, righteous queen. What's up, Terrence Graxton? He writes, good morning, everyone. Hey, good to see you. Nat writes, good morning, Facebook choppers. Good morning to you. CL Taylor writes, good morning. Good morning to you, CL Taylor. KR Mitchell writes, good morning, Nate the Choppers. Good morning to you. Kelly's on YouTube. She writes, good morning. Ballhead writes, good morning, Nate the Choppers. Good morning to you. Danita writes, good morning, everyone. Let's make it a marvelous Monday. I like the way that sounds. Let's do it. Dale writes, you didn't miss anything with the Bengals. I didn't think so. Listen, if you like sports like that, then you win or lose, you get something out of it. So enjoy. I ain't trying to hate on you. Enjoy your Bengals, man. Enjoy your Bengals. Take them L's. Anthony writes, good morning, Choppers. TNT writes, good morning. Angela writes, Steeler Nation. What? We got another one? Frenae writes, can the Steeler fans come up with their own saying? Yeah, what she just said. TNT writes, I never started watching Bengals, but here they are losing horribly with their high school coach. Corona bubble NFL season don't count. Their high school coach. The hell? May writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Fast Pitch writes, good morning to all except the Karens and Darrens. She ain't gonna let that go. Karen, Darren, and Darren. Karen, Darren, and Darren. Dale writes, Cincinnati sports teams have a curse. Until the city does right by black people, they will continue to be miserable. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Dale. What I've said is, how can you expect the gridiron gods to bless Hamilton County? And look at what y'all did to Tracy Hunter. Ain't no blessings coming. Y'all blew your blessings, dragging that woman off to jail for no reason. You saw what happened with them judges that was involved, didn't you? I'm telling you. That was God, not God. That was God speaking through the electorate. Crystal writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Crystal. Arnell writes, hi, all. Good morning to you. Tanya's on YouTube. She writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Today is another beautiful day to be alive, so smile. You see me smiling. Speaking of which, I got to take my meds. I'll do it during the break. It's what it is. It's my be better than me, family. Be better than me. Be better than me. Good morning, everybody. Brian writes, that's why I don't play out here. This ain't bowling. This is more like tennis. Serve and you will get a return on everything. I know that's right. Samantha writes, good morning, all. Tracy writes, good morning, Choppers. TNT writes, the Million Mega March fell short in their numbers. Yes, they did. They tried to do what Farrakhan did. They tried to do what the black men did many, many, many years ago, but it failed miserably because you ain't got that much support. But they are forced to be reckoned with, family. Don't fall asleep. Here's two things we shouldn't fall asleep about right now. Number one, holding Biden and Harris accountable to their agenda. And before you say, what is their agenda? I don't want to hear nobody say that Biden and Harris don't have a black agenda. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear from Ice Cube. I don't want to hear from nobody because they do. You can go on their website right now and you can read up about it. The smart thing to do is to read up on the agenda and as much as possible, hold them accountable or enhance it. And in 2 years, don't fall asleep, family, because if you do, if we fall asleep in 2 years, then Biden and Harris won't get a damn thing done in the last 2 years of their first term administration. They won't get anything done. We already know. Dale writes, Georgia called over the weekend. Sean writes, the Steelers always put those Bengal Tigers in a steel cage. They seem to. Clarence writes, I got one thing for that. Oh, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear a word you said. If you keep talking, I'm going to bust your head. Okay. Wayne writes, how is fighting BLM going to help your president win? LOL clowns. Listen, there are some people who, like the way I look at it, these Trumpsters, these Boogaloo boys or Bagaloo boys or whatever you pronounce it, or the Proud Boys. Why is boys always a part of it? I don't get it, but these boys out here, these militia groups, they want to do it anyway. They're looking for a reason to put their training in action. They're looking for a reason to manifest their racism. Trump, Gretchen Whitmer, the election of 2020, a coronavirus, it is what it is. I saw something ridiculous over the weekend, family. They was talking with he's like the number 2 guy in the Michigan militia, right? This white dude that used to be in the military. And they showed some video of him, showing people how to hold their weapons and all this kind of stuff. And so the female reporter sat down with him. It was a white female reporter sat down with him and asked him, how did this all start? You know what this fool said? This fool said the coronavirus. Well, when the first shutdown was cool, but after that, businesses started going out of business. And, well, do you really think that these politicians, who oftentimes run on the health of their particular economies, do you really think they want to put people out of business? How does that work for them? Of course they don't. It's just a sad consequence of what you got to deal with. Same thing with CPS. You really think that CPS wants to put a burden on parents and families out there? Anybody think that? Of course they don't. It's just a sad consequence of dealing with what you got to deal with in terms of a health crisis. It is what it is. All this belly aching and whining it's too much for me. It really is. Maxine writes, everyone is all over the place. What is this title for? Just asking. The title is because that is the main topic. Is that you talking about this cover title? Yeah. So I'm gonna be talking about that during the first hour. Yeah, but that's just the nature of the show, Maxine. People talk about multiple things on the show. This show usually has multiple topics. Now, coming up tomorrow, let me give you a heads up since we're talking about topics. I'm scheduled to talk with a Pulitzer Prize winning writer, black writer. Some of you might have heard of him. His name is Leonard Pitts Jr. And he's been a frequent voice on the show for a while. We're going to catch up later today. I hope to play that interview for you tomorrow with Leonard Pitts Jr. That's tomorrow. At least for the first 20 minutes of the show, you'll chat, or at some point during the show in the first hour, you'll hear it. Let me see. But Sean writes, good morning, Nate. Good morning to you. Tiffany's in the house. Good morning to you. Crystal writes, good morning. Reevy Jones writes, what happened to the judge? You talking about Tracy Hunter? Yeah, she was dragged to jail on some BS. And she got out early. I think she spent, what was it, TNT, like 45 days in jail down in Hamilton County, JC, for what amounts, in my opinion, to nothing more than white male envy. She made some white male Republicans upset. And then when they saw an opportunity to get at her, they got at her. And then you had black people in the community that was making excuses and talking about what she did wrong. Instead of getting on code and supporting that sister, I'm not really sure what it made a difference in terms of her going to jail or not. I just want to make that sidebar point. But that's what happened. Her name is Tracy Hunter. With an I. Google it. You can see all about it. It really did happen. Like literally, she was dragged out of the courtroom. It was so many crazy things have happened. We don't even talk about that anymore. That's how crazy it was. Brent writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Checking in from Dallas, Texas. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Felice writes, good morning. El Grio writes, good morning, Nate. Clarence writes, morning, Choppers. Brian writes, black guns matter. Dale writes, help us in Georgia. Yeah, no, that's right. To both of those statements. I'm a diehard Bengal fan from head to toe, but we need to stop letting Zach Taylor call the place that called a place that was his office of coordinator and D7 coordinator is for. Okay, right. Dale writes, LP is good at, yeah, he's a fabulous writer. I appreciate his opinion. Absolutely. But back to this. As I said earlier, and I played the audio clip for you in the video. I'll play it for you again. A Trump supporter over the weekend, I played it for you. I'll play it for you again. He says, it's our time to rise. I told you, they're trying to trigger a brand new Tea Party. They're about that business. And so my question is, what are we, and in particular, I'm talking about black people, black voters, but what are we, and that is everyone who's not an unhinged Trump supporter, what are you going to do? What are we going to do about it? These people are organizing. They organizing in the streets. They organizing behind closed doors. And they're trying to challenge the power structure. Meanwhile, what are we doing? What are we doing? For black voters, this is not time to be wallowing in pity. It ain't time for all of that. Save that. You know, this is about holding Biden, Harris accountable and then supporting the policies on a local level that matter most to you. You might not even vote in the election. Okay, great. You didn't vote in the election. You still live and pay taxes, don't you? Most cases. Unless you're Trump, you pay very, very little. It's all about what are we going to do moving forward because it's in our hand. You know what I'm saying? Whining, belly aching, complaining, and finger pointing, all of that needs to stay in 2020. We need to hit 2021 with a brand new mentality, a certain level of sophistication when it comes to these matters. Because if we don't, family, we are going to find ourselves a year from now in November, we're going to have local elections doing the same old damn thing. That's what's going to happen. So the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys and the Backstreet Boys, they in the streets. Talking about it's our time to rise. We will not go down with bloodshed. I hope the FBI is paying attention. They run around here trying to catch Tamai Denard and Jeff Pastor. They need to be paying attention to these Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys and the Backstreet Boys. That's what they need to be doing. Talking about public corruption, and you got Trump in the White House. Please. Janine writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Stefan Pryor writes, morning, bringing good news to the minds. You know what? That's what's up to you, Stefan. I thought about you over the weekend, man. I saw this video. It was actually a podcast that had Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was talking about your father in there. Y'all don't know that? Yeah, his father, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, is the man known as the Hawk. Right? Aaron Pryor, he was listen. Again, I was too young to be really in the boxing game, but, you know, all the men in my family were really into boxing. So, you know, that was what was on TV. But Floyd Mayweather recently, and again, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, he did a podcast with Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp, he has a podcast called Club Shay Shay. I didn't name it. And they asked Floyd Mayweather who the top 5 boxers was, and he said Stefan Pryor's father. Made me think about you, Stefan. Props to you, man, your family. That means you got good genes, bro. Lola J is in the house. Good morning to you, Lola J. Sarah writes, we need our own party. Well, I mean, Puffy got one. It's our black party. There it is. We got one. There it is. Get behind Puffy. You know, if he got an agenda people can get behind, there it is. Let's rock with him. Lola J, oh, is that a white Santa? Oh, we don't do white Santa on the Nathan Ivey Show, Lola J. You need a brown Santa. I don't do Santa, period. Like, my son is 5 and already know. We ain't doing none of that. No, hell no, ain't no Santa coming over here. And there certainly ain't no white Santa dropping a damn thing off over here. Your father is Santa. Your mama is, if there is a Santa, like the figmentation, he already know. We told him he was like 3. He was like, huh? First he resisted it, literally. First he resisted it like, yes, there is. He put up a little bit of resistance for a while, but we broke him down. He knows the truth now. Oh, man. People have gotten, it's just so funny what people get mad at. That's why I laugh at all of it, man. It's just so funny what people get mad at over the years. I remember distinctly getting threatened on the air by black people because I told them that there was no Santa Claus and that I told my kid that. And that, hey, if my kid is in daycare with you, she might tell, this is little Buddha when she was younger. My kid might tell you, ain't no damn Santa Claus. You said something, and somebody called in and threatened me, like really wanted to fight over some freaking Santa Claus. It was ridiculous, man. Philosophy writes, let's talk about the whole truth about Judge Hunter since the election is over and Judge Cross already won. They ret males were mad because she won that seat after the recounts that year. They fought so hard because the judge that won that seat was able to appoint another judge. She appointed another black person in the seat as she should have, and they've been hunting her ever since. Oh, yeah, that was big matter. Nobody saw Tracy Hunter winning. She was a big surprise. Came out of nowhere. Even the Democrat Party didn't see that. They was backing another candidate, if my memory serves me correctly. And when she got in there talking about, I'm the boss and we're going to do it this way and no, the media can't do this and take the shackles off and no, we're going to have some reforms, they got in their feelings about it. I'm telling you, Alex Triantafilu, and Alex won't return any of my text messages anymore. He must be mad at me over Bruce Hoffbauer. Well, so and what? And he must be mad now. You big mad, Alex? Oh, okay. So what? I don't give a damn. Yeah, I think it was funny. Yeah, but listen, I was told firsthand by somebody high up at that time in the Republican Party that it was personal. I don't know what, she must have said something that got to him. I don't know what it was, but they was mad at her, boy. It was like it was personal with her. So they got what they wanted. It worked. And the community allowed it to happen. And you reelected Leslie Giz. And so it is what it is. I'm glad to see things that people have caught up to it, but for years and years and years, nothing happened. So it is what it is. Lola writes, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with Herman Cain. His dead vote I'd be scratching while my larger hoax is hatching if I only had a brain. Okay. Look at you. You so witty. You are so witty. Tiffany writes to Stephen Pryor, love AP as an Aaron, I believe is what they call him. Tell me if I'm wrong now. Sean writes, I believe, yes, we do. I believe our people have fallen asleep since the Biden-Harris win. I hope not, Sean. If anybody's fault, they just got elected last week. Biden hasn't even got in office. How did anybody fall asleep? No, I didn't fall asleep during the Obama term. So how are we going to fall asleep during this term? So I hope you're wrong about that, Sean. I really sincerely do. Sarah writes, they went into Chocolate City with that BS and got the bloodshed they were asking for. They did. I did. They did. I seen a black female get attacked as well on one of those videos. Matter of fact, in the cover story right here, that's what it is. That cover, I know it's a little blurry, done purposely, so you can't really pick out the faces. But that's a black female that this white male is attacking. And so he pushed his sister to the ground, and then the brothers around him, let's just say he ended up face down in the concrete. You get what you get. If you don't want to be like that, if you don't want to deal with those consequences, then stay home. That's number one. If you stay home, you ain't got to worry about it. Keep your little tortoise head in the shell. Head in the shell, you'll be fine. But when you start wilding out on females, there are some men that don't like that, and they're going to get violent with you. They're going to test you. It is what it is. Maxine writes, I wouldn't join Puffy's movement. Mine would be more trustworthy. Oh, you don't trust Puffy? You don't trust Puffy's movement? At this point, I don't have a reason to distrust him, Maxine. Again, I ain't trying to challenge what you're saying. We can always agree, disagree. I'm just telling you my viewpoint on it. But, Puffy got means. He got resources. He got connections. He got the celebrity factor. I don't see him as being the one that's leading the charge. I think that should come from grassroots people that have already been doing it and have laid the infrastructure. But if he wants to play a role, why not? Why not? I think it's great. Letty writes, Aaron Pryor was the man, the baddest fighter in Cincinnati. We were friends and classmates. Yeah. I grew up on Walnut Hills, so I saw, and I didn't even know who he was, but I saw the other side of Aaron Pryor. That drugs, man, could take down anybody. I remember being a young dude like, oh, that's Aaron Pryor. I'm like, really? It's sad, man. I'm drugs. Drugs. It'll take down the strongest person in the world, man. Put it down. Put down the sugar. Don't mess with the alcohol. Put it all down. You don't need it. Brent writes, we need to stop lying to our children about some fat white man coming down chimneys that we don't have to give us presents with our parents spend that hard-earned money on. You talking to the choir over here, brother. I already know. I don't play those games. I just made the point that it reminded me when somebody on YouTube posted some Santa Claus emojis. I'm like, Santa Claus? White Santa Claus? We ain't doing that. What you gonna put up next? William Shatner? It's James T. Kirk? Please stop it. Tarzan and Santa Claus. And some would say Jesus. You can put all that in one big box. You know what I'm saying? No. No. Are you triggered yet? Am I triggering you? Let me see. Maxine writes, are black people really going to still celebrate these cursed pagan holidays? I am celibate. The truth. Again, if that's what you into with your children, you go ahead and do it. I ain't here to hate on nobody. You do you. That's your household. I don't pay no bills over there, and you don't pay no bills over here. So we going to do what we do. To each his own. Jada writes, Harris ain't as black as y'all think, LOL. I mean, she likes hip hop. Hey, Jada, she likes Tupac. I mean, what she got to pull the hot sauce out of her purse to prove it to you? She eats chitlins. I don't know. I'm making that up. So I think it's more of a state of mind than anything else. In terms of being black. Let me see. He got Biggie killed. I'm out, LOL. He got Nah, that's not what happened, is it? For whatever reason, I'm not accessing those files fast enough, Philosophy, but that's not how I remember it. But I mean, maybe you got some information I don't have. Dill writes, stop with this nonsense. This is senseless and feeds a white supremacist meme. Brent writes, if Puffy is serious about a black political party, he needs to change up his programming on Revolt TV. Time is over for 24/7 entertainment. Oh, okay. Sorry, talking with the wife real quick. He changed up the programming. Well, they have changed up the programming. So he's got Revolt Black News, Ebony K. Williams, beautiful sister in terms of her brain and her flow, is the host. I really enjoy the program. What I've noticed more and more, because I watch Revolt TV, I'm into the culture that way. That's like a little portal for me. And I've noticed a whole lot more programming and promoting around the agenda and news and things like that. But I mean, it's a music entertainment platform. So that he would be silly, in my opinion, Brent, to change up his platform. That's what he does. That's what Puffy does. Like Revolt TV is like the black, new culture music channel. That's what it is. I don't want him to change it. I like it just like it is, quite honestly. I mean, I think that would be a death blow to that channel if he changed it too much. But I think him incorporating more and more politics and like social issues and things like that, I mean, okay, I'm with that. But I like the music. That's how I stay with the culture and figure out what's going on some levels. I plug into Revolt from time to time and just sit there and watch it. And like I said, I really like that Revolt Black News. I really, really like Ebony K. Williams as the host. I think she is dynamite. I have a lot of respect for that sister. That was the sister that was over on Fox News. Remember that? And she kept it Rizzo on Fox News. She kept it Rizzo to the point where she said something about Trump and she realized the writing was on the wall. And what I like about the sister is she didn't complain about it. She just moved on. I saw her do an interview with the Breakfast Club and she was like, she told the story and I forget exactly the incident. It was something that had to do with Trump and she kept it real on the air. And then all of a sudden the Fox News crowd turned on her. And she was smart enough to see that. And she kept it real. She was like, oh, it was time for me to go. There was no coming back. And she ain't doing what you see, she ain't doing what Monique is doing out here whining about what Oprah said. If they blackballing you, they blackballing you. It is what it is. Move on. It is what it is. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to change it. You knew what you was dealing with when you decided to keep it real. Now, I respect people that keep it real, but you can't bellyache afterward like, oh, well, after I kept it real, they shunned me. It's the consequences of it. But I'm a big fan of Ebony K. Williams. I like her style. She keeps it real. Clarence writes, what time is it? Hawk time. Again, a little bit beyond before my time, but it just made me think about Stephon when I saw that this was as recent as 2 weeks ago that Floyd Mayweather was bigging up his pops. Like, yeah, and prior to Hawk, boom. Shannon Sharp asked him, who's your top 5 all time? And he said the Hawk. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Made me think of Stephon. Props to your family, man. Jasmine writes, why are people always policing how people want to live their lives, Lord? Maurice writes, what's the topic for today? Well, at least for the first hour, we're talking about these MAGA folks, man, that happened over the weekend. But you know me, the show is always diverse. We can talk about multiple things within the same time frame. Yeah, Trump supporter says it's our time to rise. We will not go down without bloodshed. And really, you know, I believe them. I'm here to tell you that I believe them. Whether it be the Boogaloo Boys or the Proud Boys, whoever else, I believe them. And I think that the response from us should be to do the same thing. No, check that. It's our time to rise. It's our time to rise. But we can't do that just talking ish. You know, it's behind organization. That's why I say, you know, I think Ice Cube had multiple layers and issues. But the idea of having a black agenda and interacting with the political scene, that's smart. That's smart. So if the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys are going to posse up, what are we going to do? What we need is a black Tea Party. We need something like that. What we need is a progressive Tea Party. We need both. We need both. And these MAGA folks out here talking about violence, listen, family, make sure you protect yourself. I believe them 100%. So the question is, what are you going to do if they bring the violence to you and your family? Be prepared. Make sure you're abiding by the laws. Make sure you're doing everything as legal as possible so you can protect yourself and your family. That's it. That's it. It's real simple. And I've got more audio and video for you as well. Let me see. Philosophy writes, she became black when it was convenient for her black people push. That's on her. You're right. Now, you're right about that. Philosophy, I cannot disagree with anything you're saying. You 100% when it comes to her. But she's still the VP elect. She's still going to be the vice president for the next 4 years unless something happens. And I think that if we applauded Ice Cube for willing to work with Trump, then we should applaud grassroots efforts to work with Biden Harris, despite what their history may be. I don't get it. Because you ain't going to, Trump's history is no better. And I'm talking about the recent history of him being in the White House. It ain't no better for black folks. Jasmine writes, y'all keep questioning if Kamala is black, but quick to give cookout invites to every white person who smiles at you. Ooh, facts. Facts. Like I just said, people was giving Ice Cube props for working with Trump on some. Now we want to be super smart about it. Well, our politics is nonpartisan, and we should be able to work with everybody. But then people want to keep talking about whether Kamala is black or not. To me, I think we're beyond all of that. She is the VP elect. She and Biden are going to be in power, and we should be working with them and anybody else. Simple as that. And again, they have an agenda. See, this the thing about it with Biden Harris. They have an agenda. It's called the Lift Every Voice agenda. I would have named, if I had an agenda, I wouldn't have called it Lift Every Voice. But maybe that's not why I'm not in politics. So what we got to do, what smart people who care about this topic should do, is go to their, because I've been reading it more and more, brushing up on it. Because what I plan to do is hold them accountable. You should read their agenda. It's like 22 pages long. It's comprehensive on a lot of different issues. I think it's not everything. As I read through it over the last couple of weeks, there's some things that especially if you live in a particular state, you're like, oh, what about this? What about that? Okay, great. Well, hold them accountable. Simple as that. You can't say they don't have a black agenda. That's one thing you can't say. All right, let's go back to the phones or to the phones for the first time this morning. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. It's Kevin on the cell. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, man. You sound a little low, Kev, on the cell. Are we on speaker or?
Yeah, well, I am on my headset, but it's actually better. But I'm going to try it this way. Hold on a second.
Kev was on the cell.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
better?
Yeah, that's much better, Kev. Hey, good morning to you, brother. Welcome.
Okay, fine. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. And I've got this problem with this Kamala Harris thing, man. How old do you think Kamala Harris is? Or how old is she? I don't know. I'm telling the truth.
I want to say she's in her mid to late 50s, but I really don't know. That's a good question.
So let me see here. A woman who's in her mid to late 50s went to a historically black college, I don't know, 35 years ago, probably? And she went to this historically black college 35 years ago because it was politically advantageous to her to do so in 2020. I'm not feeling that. A woman who pledged an African-American sorority, probably, I got to say again, probably, 30 years ago? And she did it because it's politically advantageous in 2020. I ain't feeling that, man. I think we've changed the backstory, and I don't know that that's fair. So I did not go to a historically black college, but I did join a historically black fraternity, and I joined it because they do great things in the African-American community. So I think, and I'm not speaking for Kamala because I don't know, maybe she did have this nefarious agenda when she pledged, AKA however many years ago. Maybe she did say, one day I just might be the vice president of the United States. And being an AKA is definitely going to up my brand 30 years from now. I mean, if you're going to take a black card, take it. That's cool. I ain't got no problem with it, right? If you truly want to just take her black card, she can't be black. We ain't going to let her be black. You know what I'm saying? We got so many people clamoring and fighting, people in notable positions, clamoring and fighting to be African-American that, we rejecting the ones that say they are. I get it. You know what I mean? We don't want any more people in the club. TikTok, the game is locked. Nobody else can play. But I gotta say to you, man, it doesn't sound authentic to me. And I think the fact that folks keep pushing this narrative that says she can't be who she says she is kind of disingenuous. What do you think, bro?
I follow you 100%. I hear exactly what you're saying, brother.
I don't, and it's, I'm gonna tell you, man, like this 100% me. Haters gonna hate. Well, if she ain't black. She says she black, but she ain't black. She's Indian. She's Indian. Her dad is from Jamaica. Cause ain't no black folk from Jamaica. I can't, man. I can't with people, bro. Look, we have an African American or black or whatever you want to say. I say black because my daughter said that, Dad, you're from England. You can't be talking about being African American. So I say black. There is a black woman. A historic occurrence is about to happen. We should embrace it and be happy about it. And then what we should be clamoring is for more of our folk to make those same changes in this world. And about them Proud Boys and all them other boys and all them other people, they definitely think she's black. That's for sure.
That's for
why
sure.
They're trying to get their country back now.
That's for sure about that. Now you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
We 100 on that. The Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys, and the Backstreet Boys, they definitely think she's black. For sure.
You hear me? For sure. And now another thing about that, you said, what we gonna do? I told everybody on the street, literally on my street, It's predominantly African American or black, right? And I told everybody, if they come up this street, you got problems. America's not like most other places in the world, man. You know, mine is in the house. And if you come in here and when you come up this street trying to start some Proud Boy nonsense, you gonna walk up, but you gonna limp away. That's all I can tell you. Hey, Nathan, man, love the show. Keep it rocking.
Appreciate you, man.
Don't stop.
Yeah, it was some of that mentality on display over the weekend. I got a video I'm going to play for you real quick, okay? And I want to give you a heads up that I didn't edit this. This is raw, straight from its source on the internet. There is some language in it, so I want to give you a heads up. And this is one of these Trump supporters. Why am I playing this? Because I want you to stay on your toes. I want you to stay on your toes. I want you to understand and see what we up against and what you're dealing with. I don't want you to fall back asleep. I don't want you to fall back asleep. I want you to stay on your toes. I want you to see what these Trump supporters are really all about. Okay? And this next video is going to give you that. But again, there is some extreme language in this. I'll give you a heads up. If your children are around, I'll give you a couple of seconds here, a couple of minutes. I'll give you about 30 seconds so that you can, turn it down a little bit. But you need to see this. For all adult ears and eyes, you need to see this. You might be at work. Maybe you're listening in the cubicle. This is going to be raw a little bit. And you hear what this Trump supporter says. Why is he so angry? That's my question for you. Why is he so angry? All right. We're going to roll this real quick. I want you to see this.
If he had behaved from the get-go and not tried to pass false money, he'd still be alive today. It's not that hard to behave. It can't be that hard to behave.
You do not
obey the law and you will be alive. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not that hard.
So you're okay with
alive.
Derek Chauvin's knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds?
They should have done it fucking longer.
Huh?
They should have done it longer. Do you need more? They
if you want to give more, I don't know. I'm a little flabbergasted.
They should have.
He said, do you need more? You need more? He said, you should have done it longer. Proud Trump supporter with his red MAGA hat on. Why is he so angry? He angry because Trump lost? So he should have done it longer. Now think about that, family. Think about that. 8 minutes. And Derek Chauvin, police officer, ended up taking the life of this unarmed black man. He actually urinated on himself right there in the street. And this man said he should have done it longer. What would have been the point? Why is he so angry? Is that fear that's manifesting as anger? Who's he mad at? What would have been the point of doing it longer? To send a message. Like I said, when we see these scenes like George Floyd, it horrifies us. It makes you kiss your family and hug them a little bit tighter, doesn't it? Makes you insecure. But for some people in this country, oh, they love it. They love it. They like it. What are we dealing with? So who the hell, how can you fall back asleep in this climate? Somebody said that he thinks that people have fallen asleep already. Really? Who? Where? How? How can you sleep at a time like this? This is not the time to fall asleep, family. This is not the time. I'm sorry. I don't believe it, quite honestly. I don't believe that people are falling asleep right now. This is just me. I think people are really awoke and aware right now, hypersensitive. I think people are really hypersensitive to what's going on right now. That's just me. Here's another clip for you that happened over the week. All this stuff happened over the weekend. I'm sharing with you. This is Trump supporters in their feelings chanting, "We won," as a Black Lives Matter protester confronts them again. Extreme language. I have not edited this. I'll give you a heads up so you may have children around. But I want you to check this out. You got to see this, family. Rotate.
Can we talk? Can I talk? Let's talk. Let's talk. Hello, guys. My name is Renee. There's a lot of guys here. So, y'all should listen.
The opposite is true. The opposite of what you just said is true.
Jonathan, get this on video. Because did you just hear this? Hey, weirdo. Listen, Trump lost. Biden is the president.
Trump won. We 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 won.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They lost. No, they didn't. The hell? It's funny, man, but that image right there reminds me of the image that we saw of the Covington Catholic students that were at the mall in Washington. Remember that? And then the young dude got paid recently with the MAGA hats on and they button-down shirts. Now, I want you to resist what might be your first impulse. Your first impulse might be to dismiss them. I don't want you to dismiss them, family. Don't dismiss this. Don't think, oh, this is just a minority of people. Oh, they don't have an impact. That's the wrong way of looking at it. The way we should look at this is take this as for what it is. A very serious political and perhaps social movement. I'm telling you, we're looking at the rise of the new Tea Party. I'm waiting for it. It may not be called the Tea Party. It might be called something else. It might be called the Tea Party. We're bringing it back, 1776 in 2012. Or I'm sorry, 2021. The question is, while they're organizing, what are we doing? What are you doing? Well, one thing I say you can do, and one thing I would urge you to do, is that if you voted for Biden-Harris, whether you held your nose or not, the one thing you should be focusing on right now is what's happening in Georgia. There's got 2 Georgia runoffs that are happening for the U.S. Senate. What's at stake there? What's at stake there is the balance of power in the U.S. Senate, and therefore the ability of Biden-Harris to get anything done over the next 2 years. That's it. That's it. What's at stake is who is going to be able to control the federal judge appointmentships over the next 2 years. Will it be Mitch McConnell or will it be the Biden administration? What's at stake here is the future placement of Supreme Court nominees. Will it be the kind of Supreme Court nominees? And again, I have no confidence at this point that Biden and Harris are going to put so-called progressives. That's where I lean to myself personally, if you don't know, if you can't tell already. Or will it be moderates and or Republicans? But what's at stake is all of that. So don't fall asleep, family. This ain't over. The election is not over. It's extended this year to Georgia. And then you got to get ready for 2 years when you got midterm elections. We can never fall asleep. We can never let our guard down. This is nonstop. Like if you're someone who believes in that kind of stuff. Now, if you don't believe in that, you still got to stay on top of your toes because you should be acting locally. Yeah, they're talking about Biden-Harris, and it matters, but what happens in Columbus matters more to Cincinnati in some cases than what happens in D.C. Columbus, of course, is the capital of Ohio. If you're not in Ohio, let's say you're in wherever you might be, then what happens, the politics that comes out of your state capital means more in some cases than what comes out of the U.S. Capitol. That's what your focus should be. Because again, they're going to be out there. They're going to be out there. You got more folks around here saying, my vote don't matter. I ain't going to vote. But they're voting. All these MAGA hat wearing folks, they out, the Boogaloo Boys, the Proud Boys, the Backstreet Boys, the 85 South Boys, whoever, they all out there. They voting. I'm having some fun. They voting out there. We can't fall asleep. We can't fall asleep, family. You fall asleep, it's over for you. It's a wrap. Oh, I got more. That ain't it. I got more. I got some videos of the business. People getting busy out here. People getting put to sleep in the streets. You want to see it? It wasn't good. Again, I don't take any, it don't make me happy to have to play this for you, but this is what happened over the weekend. I want to report to you about what time it is. There is a divided America. It is what it is. There are people out there that should be trying to unite us, and they should be doing out there. They should be doing that. Like Joe Biden, he should be talking about one country and all. He should be making sure he comes through it for his supporters and black voters within the first 100 days. But we should be having those conversations. For everybody else, man, listen. Organize. You want to see this? Mofo's getting busy out here. I ain't making it up. I'll play it for you. Here it is. You can see it for yourself. Check this out. Is this white on white violence?
Watch your foot. Go back. Go back. Watch your foot.
Again, extreme language. I give you a head up. Yeah, this is what happened in America over the weekend. They ain't joking. If you didn't hear it, and I don't know how you couldn't hear it, but they're saying F Antifa. I gave you a heads up to the children out there. I mean, these videos, I have not edited them. They're extreme language. I want you to hear it raw. I want you to hear it raw, but I'll give you a heads up because I am sensitive to what's going on in the morning. I don't even know anybody in Antifa. Do you? Raise your hand if you know somebody that's a part of Antifa. And most people don't even know what the hell that is. They don't even know what that means, Antifa. You tell them it stands for anti-fascist. They're like, what is fascist? The Million MAGA March it was probably about 10, 20,000, maybe at the most. That might even be generous, quite honestly, across the nation. They hit the streets because they lost. And there's sour grapes about it. But this ain't nothing new. The same thing that drove these white folks to the street is the same thing that drove white folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma to destroy Black Wall Street. Sour grapes because they think that somebody other than them is winning. That's it. I saw this recently, man. It was a map. There was a map of somebody put out on social media. This is some time ago. I don't have it readily available. It's in my phone. Of all of the massacres of like black communities and like Black Wall Streets that happen all over the country. It wasn't just Black Wall Street. That's just been like how they miseducate us. They want to make it seem like it just happened one time and it really wasn't happening. It was happening everywhere. Anywhere where it was black progress, white folks got in their feelings and did exactly what you're seeing right now. The only difference is in these clips, they're doing it against other white folks. Back in the day, they was coming through black neighborhoods with torches and hoods on, trying to destroy your business because they didn't want to compete with you. Like, wait a minute, Mr. Johnson got the same house I have? We got to stop this, right? Stop it. We know what it is. Here's another one. Again, there's language in this, extreme language. I'm going to give you a heads up. Why am I playing this? I'm playing this for two reasons. Number one is news purposes. This is what happened over the weekend, so we catching up. And two, how can you fall back asleep in the state of America that we're living in? Stay vigilant. Keep your eyes up. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And by ready, I'm talking about politically ready and also what you got to do in terms of the self-defense of your own family. And again, all politics are local. This is all local. This is happening nationally, but what are we going to do locally is the question. Rotate.
The fuck out. Everyone, get out. Get out. Get out. Get fucking do that. None of you want to fucking do that. None of you want to fucking do that. Chill. That's a big head. I'm still separate everything. That's a big head. Hey, everyone. This is
what happened at the end. That's what we got for him. You saw what happened to him at the end. What happened to that white dude at the end is what we got for these Trump supporters talking this nonsense. You're going to get laid out on the concrete. Simple as that. Ain't nobody got time for that. We ain't going, nobody's going for it. It's a whole new reality out there. It's a whole new world. I'm telling you. They can try it if they want to. What he got at the end is exactly what they can all get. Because it's different kind of people out there, just like it's different kind of personalities. Same thing in the black community. You got different kind of personalities. You got some folks that wouldn't believe to be out there. They wouldn't even dream about being out there in the middle of something like that. And you got some other type of black folks that will lay you out while the police are standing right there next to you. And whatever happens, happens. It's a whole new day. It's a whole new day. To me, this is democracy. This is just democracy. This is the way it works. Sometimes people hit the street in this country and they get the fisticuffs or whatever you want to call it, pugilism, and they get that Ann Pryor on or whatever you want to call it. We've been doing this since the formation of this so-called country. Way before. This is just human interaction. This is what humans do to me. I'm not fazed by it. I'm not necessarily moved by it. I've just come to believe that this is just the way things are when human beings interact. Some of us are going to hit the streets and get blizzy. And some of us are going to stay home and go on social media. It's just what it is. It is what it is. But how can you fall asleep at a time like this? So again, I want to reiterate it for folks who might be coming into the flow this morning. Please share this stream. I appreciate you in advance. I got my number there if you want to share your thoughts. How can you fall asleep when everything's so up and down around us? This was just the beginning. And here's the truth, family. Like I think that Trump didn't create any racist. He didn't make these people hit the streets. Trump didn't cause racism. That would be ridiculous. Do you believe that? I don't believe that one bit. But he did put that Energizer battery in a lot of their backs. And fear, tempers, and emotions, and maybe a series of things in play that we're going to have to deal with for the next generation. Like, they're not going to go away. I mean, the brother that got laid out, when he wakes up, he's not going to have a come to Jesus moment like, you know what, I was wrong. He's probably going to double down on his hatred. And some of this is hatred. It's these white males who believe this country is theirs. Might makes right. In some kind of crazy, I don't know what class they went to. Some of it is fear. Fear of a black planet. Fear that the country is changing right before them. All that stuff about losing jobs and build a wall, that's fear. As we all know, man, sometimes human beings can be their most dangerous when they're afraid of something, right? What they say about cornering like an animal, she's going to go through you. Same thing with human beings. We have a reckoning coming. We're going to have to deal with this. I say the way we deal with this as black folks, as progressive folks, however you may be, maybe you're both, is we organize. We build coalitions. We coalesce. We come together with like-minded individuals. If they don't like the fact that Biden-Harris won, well, we should make them even more mad after Georgia. And then make them mad again in 2 years with those midterm elections. I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, we're living in a time where it's hyper-partisan, it's dog-eat-dog, and might makes right. Okay, those are the rules. Let's do it. Those are the rules. That's what it is. Whoever's got the majority does whatever the majority wants to do. It is what it is. That's why I say it again, man. Biden-Harris, they have the biggest opportunity in the world. They don't even have to necessarily, in my opinion, they don't even have to necessarily come through with legislation, because if the Republicans take the Senate, then everybody will understand that there's only so much they can do. But Biden needs to, at every opportunity, just like Trump did, speak to his base, speak to those policies, talk about what he's trying to do, lay it out there. Don't start pontificating and get intellectual, because people are going to lose you. You're going to lose, or should I say, you're going to lose people. Don't do all that. Keep it single, keep it singular, keep it focused. And if people see you put that effort in, then in 2 years, they'll come out for you. If you do not, If you do not, in midterms, it's already the whiter you are, the older you are, the more affluent you are, the more likely you are to vote in a midterm election. It's already going to be an uphill battle. And if these 2 years we don't see Biden, Harris speaking to us, my fear is black folks going to stay home. And I can't say they'll have a bad reason. They won't have a good reason not to come out. I'm just telling you that's the political realities of it. But let me go to the phones to say good morning. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, brother.
Hey, what's up, brother Stefan?
How you doing, brother? I hear you giving props out to the true great legend, Mr. Aaron, the Hawk Pryor.
Oh, most def.
Appreciate that, man. I used to fight myself too. And I'm 10-2, 7 knockouts. Never been knocked out before. I lost on points when I turned professional. And I quit boxing because I kept getting headaches. And you know, when you hire your coach in the ring yelling at you, like, why are you yelling at me and I pay you? So I had to get rid of his ass. So you got to go. So it was a journey, man. So I'm gonna give you a little quick story about my father, real quick. When my father was on drugs, Alexis Aguelo, that's the one he fought. He fought Alexis Aguelo twice in Miami at the Orange Bowl. Then he fought him again in Vegas at the Caesar Palace. And Alexis went up to my father when he was on drugs. He said, Pryor, help yourself, Pryor. Help yourself, Pryor. That's all he said to him. And Pops got down and he got busy, you know, through the help of God. So God can turn anybody's life around to whoever did drugs. You won't have that taste in your mouth no more. So that was one of the stories. But we're going to try to work on a movie about my father. So that's what we're in the process.
That'll be dope.
So we're trying to holler at Danny Glover. Childish Gambino. What's his name? Childish
Gambino.
Yeah, him. That's Danny Glover.
Mm-hmm.
So he can play my father. I like him to play my father or Denzel Washington's son. Yeah.
Okay. Watch that.
I appreciate you, brother, and I'll get you on the advertising gigs with that too.
Sure.
I ain't forgot about you. I'm working. Oh, I need to call you, know your prices too when you get offline.
Absolutely.
So I can go ahead and talk to these people. I heard you this morning on Facebook. Y'all was talking about the Trump rally. You know that Trump rally is going to get terminated as soon as Biden get the keys to the White House. This whole rally gonna get terminated, so they ain't gonna allow that. But the whole point is the politics shouldn't divide us. It should unite us. What's going on? You get what I'm saying? Instead of this drama, so much drama. I don't want to say in the LBC, but it's so much drama going on, brother. And we need somebody. If you can be the first, we need to start screaming peace. If we're not screaming peace, you're gonna get chaos. You're gonna get what you just saw in your video. Police sitting back, ain't doing nothing but watching it. You know what I mean? You ain't even stepping in. So them the games we gotta watch. We just can't fall into the trap. We just need to beat the folks with the minds. Instead of being subconscious, you gotta be conscious, aware of what's going on. That's the key. And it started here locally at the City Hall. It started there. You know what I mean? The guys, what they doing in there, you see the corrupt stuff they doing. Everybody see it now. You know what I mean? So that's where it needs to change at. I'm gonna ride that surface. I'm gonna ride that like a surfboard, man. And all this corruption down there, they've been doing this for years, man. They've been doing it. Somebody I'm gonna keep talking about that corruption down there. And watch this one. You know what really irks my nerves sometimes, man? Like, I'll never hate nobody. Never. I can dislike you. Man, what Chris Smitherman did, he was on Zoom talking to the council because he couldn't make it inside the chamber. You know, they having council. So he got on. He the only one said it. Everybody at council ain't even missing it. He was like, I think we need to shut down the chamber because this COVID is rising. If the courthouse ain't shut down, City Hall shouldn't be shut down. See, they do that for that sneaky stuff they doing, man. That's why they do this stuff, man. None of them council members in there, oh, yeah, let's shut it down. Nah, Smitherman did that. They trying to actually undo all this BS they've been doing. You shouldn't be shutting down no chamber. And people barely be in there. How you going to shut it down? People don't even come down there no more. Hey, brother, I got a good question for you, brother. I was watching the other day online. It was a pig going to the slaughter. He was going to get slaughtered. The pig was crying. Like, I guess I can't call him a shepherd, but whoever was pushing that pig, and the pig was like, kept on like he was crying. So you telling me that pig had fear in, and the people eat the pig? So is it the fear that sat from the pig or sat into the people? I mean, I'm just asking a good question. What you think about that one?
Hey, bro, I'm not even sure how to answer that.
Huh?
I'm not even sure how to answer that. What are you asking me exactly,
right.
Stefan?
So I'm asking, is this? I mean, I heard the story of Jesus put the demon in the pig, and the pig went over the cliff. I remember hearing that story. What I'm saying is it the people now that eat the pig? You think that meat that can change their minds or how they act? Do you think that is that possible?
I'm still a little cloudy. I mean, I'm not even sure. Is this a spiritual question? Or are you asking me? Are you what you eat?
No spiritual. Say it again. Say the last part.
Is this a spiritual question, or is this a question kind of like some "you are what you eat" type stuff?
Oh, okay. You say is you are what you eat type stuff. Then we can't say spiritual. I'm just saying, is it? I think it is because the pig got 99.9 germs in it. If a venomous snake hit that pig, who gonna eat who? That pig gonna eat that venomous snake. So he's full with poison. So I'm assuming they do actually how can I say this one, man? It do transfer the body. It's transferred into your body. You got parasites in the pig. You got all that nasty stuff in that pig. And you telling me, I think it do jump onto the people, man. When they eat that stuff, man, and they whole mind change, they act lazy, they don't want to do nothing no more. They're like a pig. Don't want to fight back. How Jesus gonna come back? And we ain't fighting back. They talking about Jesus coming back. No, we need to fight back before Jesus come back. So what's going on? So the whole point I'm getting to you is this morning, man. I woke up early hearing you, brother. Hold on, let me get online. But all this stuff we talk about, good point. You have good points, man. Your points be good, man. You hit every subject. You don't hold nothing back. That's good. I like that in you, man. Call you Nate the Great for that one. Nate the Great. You dig deep in it. You can put salt on the wound sometimes. So that's good what you're doing. And last thing, Tamaya Denora, she might not do no jail time. Why I say that? She got a plea bargain. And I read it in the paper. Mm-hmm. She got a plea bargain. So you never know what the plea bargain for. I hope she tell on all of them. I hope she do. I hope Jeff do too. Tell on all of them, man. Get all of them. I love that. That would be my Christmas present from Jeff. Snitch on all of them, man. Snitch on all of them. You know, that's what you need to do. All that corrupting City Hall, snitch on all of them, man. They all need to go down. But they dirty, they wrong. They done push people out of the community doing their votes. Why not the developer take that project back off a bad vote? They need to take that project back. Like, nah, they got voted on a bad vote. We can't let this go on. See, all this stuff, that big MC soccer stadium, you know they got bags from Jeff Birdie and the crew. I know they did. Even the ministers got paid for that, for not coming out helping the community. See, all this stuff, we got to get into the root of it. What they say, the whole damn tree rise, pull the whole root of the tree. Because it starts from the community community leaders. So anyway, good brother, man, I just wanted to jump online to talk about a little stuff. I like how you warm my engine up a little bit. You don't say nothing. You don't cut me off. That's good. Your Facebook watchers, I love them, man. Because they speak their mind. I love them people. Nothing they can do about it, man. All right, then, good brother. You enjoy your day. Y'all enjoy y'all day, too, one that's tuning in and watching.
Appreciate it. That's
right,
brother Stefan Pryor coming in. I appreciate him. You got good energy. And I love seeing him when he's down in front of city council. It's straight. I won't say it's straight comedy because that would sort of undercut him having substance, but it's straight comedy sometimes. It's hilarious. Very funny brother who I think has his eye on the community. I don't agree with everything. And I was struggling to understand his point there. Was that a spiritual argument? Or are you saying literally like there are people that don't eat meat because of precisely of what he said? Like it matters the way that the meat was slaughtered. It matters the way that the meat was stored and kept. That's why you see people like, that's why, and it matters in terms of the nutritional value. So I didn't know if he was making a nutritional argument or if it was a spiritual argument. So spiritual, I'll leave that to other people. Nutritionally, yeah, it matters. It matters if you're eating eggs from chickens that was left in the dark and never were allowed to free range and was eating GMO grain. It matters in terms of the quality of what you're going to get out of what they produce. Same thing with eating a whole bunch of distressed meat. Like I don't want to eat a chicken that was, you know, blind and lived his entire life pushed into some coop with no way to get to the air and the sunlight and be what a chicken is. I don't want to eat that kind of meat. That's what's killing a lot of folks. So from a nutritional standpoint, with my limited understanding, there's an argument there. Spiritual, you got to make your own decision about that. I don't know. I hope Tamai Denard and Jeff don't do any time. I don't want to see nobody do any time. From a law enforcement standpoint, I can see the FBI coming to Tamai and or to Jeff Pastor and saying, hey, you know anything? I mean, from a law enforcement standpoint, that would make sense for them to do that. Hey, if you tell us something on somebody else, then we'll make it a little easier on you. Makes sense. We all know how the game is played. Has that happened? I don't have any insights on it whatsoever. Is there anything to tell? I don't know. I keep hearing whispers and rumors. But nothing concrete about what might happen next and what's going to hit the news next. I keep hearing this from different sources, but I don't have anything concrete on that. Just whispers and rumors. I mean, you see the same stuff on social media, right? We'll have to wait and see. I would hope not. But if it happens, I mean, that's on them. That's on you, homie. Be smart about it. Elizabeth writes, what's wrong with being anti-fascist? Not a damn thing, Elizabeth. That's what I keep talking about Antifa. I don't get it. We're all Antifa. I'm anti-fascist too. So there must be something I just don't understand about it. Or again, it's just so much disinformation and misinformation out there. Like social media has been used for a lot of good. There's a lot of good on social media. And there's a whole lot of not so good on social media as well. That's human beings, man. It is what it is. Depends on where you're coming from. Greg writes, yeah, where was the police, ? I used to live in D.C. It's one of the most police cities in the world. In addition to the Metropolitan D.C. police, local cops, there are over 30 federal police agencies. Dion writes, I don't know a soul in Antifa, me either. He writes, there is no application process to get into Antifa, nothing. I wouldn't know if there was. Darren writes, they feel they are losing their whiteness, sick. I don't think, well, maybe we're saying the same thing. So maybe you're right in the sense that I feel like during the Obama administration, there was all this media about how the world is going black and brown. You got to remember this. Go back to the Obama administration. There was all this stuff about multiculturalism. Remember that? That was the big phrase back then. Multiculturalism, right? Diversity. All this stuff about how in 2050, white people are going to be the new minority and all this kind of stuff, right? And if you're a black and brown person, you reveled in that. You celebrated that. You couldn't wait for the day. For non-black and brown people, some of them anyway, it scared the bejesus, as I say over and over again, out of them. It scared them to death. Because some of these non-black folks think that what we're doing is sitting around thinking about what we're going to do to them if we get power. It's called comeuppance. They're sitting around worried about, oh my God, oh, well, if the blacks and the browns get too much power, they're going to do to us what we did to them in Black Wall Street. Now, that's what your ass deserves, quite honestly. You deserve that. But I don't hear those conversations. The conversations I hear from black and brown folks is, you know, it depends on who they are. I mean, you know, trying to get equity policy intangibles, people coming up with business ideas, trying to create new avenues and new income streams, black creatives creating new platforms. That's what I hear in my world. I don't hear any of this. when we get here, we gonna turn the tables. I think it just speaks to the nature of black folks. Black folks don't really have that in their nature. I'm speaking generally speaking. Black folks that I know in my family that I rock with is just on some leave me alone so I can go be my best black excellence type self. That's what I hear. Okay, but objectively, what I'm seeing from the Karens and Darrens is that they're afraid that if we get too much power, oh, that damn Kamala Harris, what's she gonna do? That somehow, we gonna turn the tables on you and, crush down on you. And I'll tell you this, think about what happened in the latest, just take Hamilton County with the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. You had Joe Dieters who successfully argued that was gonna happen if Fanon Rucker became the Hamilton County Prosecutor. I saw those negative ads. Essentially, he was arguing exactly the point I just made. Like, oh God, I'm the only thing stopping the black and brown hordes from rising up from the ghetto and coming out to the suburbs. And it worked. He had enough money to put it on TV and put it out in the right places so that it connected with enough people who were afraid. Now, I don't know, any black people in this city that think like that. All the black people I know of is on some equity policy tangibles, black creatives coming up with more income streams so they can go to the beach and buy a house and retire and make sure they got enough for their families. That's all the black folks I know. What about you? But it's something about that Hamilton County prosecutor's race where these non-black and brown people, and maybe some black and brown folks as well that live outside the city area, they get in their feelings because they think that Joe Dieters is the last man standing. He's the last factor between us and the rising black and brown hordes threatening to take over your neighborhoods, right? Look at the facts. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Look at the election results. How is it that all these other races went Democrat, but not that one? Why didn't these same folks that voted in these other races vote for Fanon Rucker? I must be on to something. We must be on to something. And Joe Dieters and his people played it right. They played into that non-black and brown fear that Fanon Rucker was going to be soft on crime. Oh, he's soft on crime. Oh, Lord, we ain't going to be able to. They're going to come up Witten Road. Oh, Lord, they're coming up Witten Road. What we going to do? And it worked like a charm. Meanwhile, Joe ain't doing a damn thing. He couldn't even get a man convicted who murdered another man on video and lied about it. Putting together a Keystone Cop prosecution. Fumbling around, dropping papers. What? Get out of here, man. So stop playing into the fear. But it worked like a charm. And really, to be honest with you, that was the playbook of everybody. Bruce Hoffbauer, that was his playbook against Charmaine McGuffey. Alice Glandorf, that was his playbook against Alice Pureval. I mean, they all did it. That was the national agenda. They all played the same playbook. Oh, did you see what happened? The summer of social unrest? Oh, Lordy, Lordy. These Democrats are going to let the black and brown hordes take over your neighborhoods. You got to vote for us because we going to stop them. And people fell for that nonsense. Meanwhile, Joe was not, he ain't going to do a damn thing. He ain't going to do nothing different. Same old, same old. If you're a white female and you forget your baby in the car all day, here I go again. I know I keep harping on this point, but I think it's because I just can't get off of it. It's just so ridiculous. You can leave your baby in the car for 8 hours because you're busy. I'm a busy professional, right? With a doctor's degree. You can do that, but then if your baby dies, no charges. If you leave the ignition on your car, leave your baby in the car in Walmart on the West End for 15, 20 minutes and somebody reports you, then you got to go to all kind of parenting classes and are you a fit mother? And they want to take your baby away from you. What? It makes no sense. But we get what we get and we don't make a fit. It is what it is. Jonathan writes, can you cover this story? Let me click on that. What is that story, Jonathan? Let me see if I can click on this. I can't click on it from here. See, Maurice writes, Antifa and Black Lives Matter are funded by the same person, Jeff Bezos. Are they? I guess. Is that the guy who started, what is that, Amazon? Okay. Wilfro writes, white folks just white, but we can't do that. Man, there's some white folks out there that's down for the cause, taking bullets for us. And for those of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, come on in. I'll say it again. I'll work with anybody. I don't care what your persuasion is. If you on the same path as me and we rocking in the same, we agree, then we agree. Come on in, family. Thurgood Marshall would have died if it wasn't for a white dude that was trailing him. He got picked up by some Southern good old boys when he was leaving the case down there defending some righteous black folks before he became a Supreme Court justice. He never would have became a Supreme Court justice if it wasn't for a white male that said, nah, y'all ain't doing that, brother, like that. Followed him. And, it turned out good for Thurgood Marshall. Facts. So again, I'm not here I know some people are all, they don't rock with us, so we can't. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that. I don't care what your racial persuasion is. If we on the same point, and we don't have to agree on everything, but if we on the same point, we on the same point. Come on in. Let's do it. Let's ride. Yeah. Let's do it together. Let's make it happen. Trump is a fascist, and so are his cult. I am not in an anti-fascist group, but I'm against fascism, absolutely. Again, family, my point is not to call names this morning. My point is to energize you. Let's not fall asleep. Look at what happened over the weekend. We have to take these people seriously. They mean what they say. They're not going to just fade into the background and just go back home. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Some of them already know. I would have to say most of them know that all this Trump won the election, really, but then I guess the Democrats and some of these Republican senators and governors and, the folks that's in charge, state secretaries, Republican, are somehow against Donald Trump, or they're using that for their own personal goals. They're using that as a rallying cry. It's like, well, next time we got to make sure. And they're going to come out and vote in Georgia. They're going to send money down to Georgia. They're going to come out in 2 years for the midterm election. What are we going to do? That's my point in bringing it all up. Don't fall asleep. Jonathan writes, Dems should stop attacking women and children. How are they attacking women and children? But if they are, I agree with you. Sean writes, George Soros, not Jeff Bezos. Thank you for the connection, Sean. The correction on that one. Wilfro added a link here. Let me see if I can grab this link. I'm curious as to what it is. Can you just give me the link is great, but from where I am with the software I'm using, I can't click on the link. You can share it and people can on Facebook and on YouTube, but I can't. So can you tell me what the story is about? And then I'll go look for it, and then perhaps we can talk about it this morning. Because again, I always leave a part of the show open for you. There might be things that are happening in real time I'm just not aware of. So set me straight. I want to talk about what you want to talk about. I want to talk about what's important to you. 100% every day, all day. I'm looking at Cincinnati City Council members are going to address public corruption. This is being reported by WCBO. Apparently, they're having a big press conference. And it's going to be Council Member Betsy Sunderman. She's going to hold a 9 a.m. press conference, which happened this morning. I already missed it. And then Council Member Greg Landsman is going to hold a press conference addressing the topic at 10 a.m. on the steps of City Hall. I was just on the steps of City Hall yesterday. I take it back Saturday. I'm doing a promo video. Doing a promo video for CDM and the Nathan Ivey Show. What's this going to be about? Why are they holding press conferences? I'd like to know, is this some grandstanding type stuff? Now, Greg Landsman is a white male Democrat, and as it stands, if he runs for re-election coming up next year, he will be the only elected city council person to run for re-election. I shared with you last week, I got some information from the pastor campaign about how he said he's not going to step down, but I hear what they're saying. I appreciate the source and all, but I don't believe that. I don't believe it because there's a lot of pressure coming, including some pressure from the state of Ohio. And the Supreme Court of the state of Ohio can get involved as well. And they could basically force Jeff out. Now, that could talking about pressing charges and doing something if Tamir Denard didn't step down. If Joe Dieters does the same thing with Jeff Pastor, something tells me he's probably going to step down. So more than likely, we're going to see Jeff Pastor step down. I would not be surprised to see that. I just don't think, I think the brother's between a rock and a hard place. I think it is what it is. Now, it's kind of sad because like in America, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So part of me feels like, why would you step down unless you haven't been proven guilty of anything? Now, if he pleads guilty and him stepping down, it becomes a precursor to him pleading guilty, it all makes sense. I wouldn't vote for Bessie Sunderman to be a crossing guard. I wouldn't vote for Bessie Sunderman to be in charge of the fries over at your local McDonald's. I wouldn't put her in charge of a damn thing ever. That's just me. Hold on, I'm getting text messages. Could be some information for us. That's just me. Oh, okay. Cool. Somebody said they sent it in there. Okay. So it looks like we got a press conference we can put into. Thank you so much. Is that Pat? Thank you so much, Pat. The chopper's coming through as always. So apparently they live streamed it and they put it inside on Facebook. I'm inside the Friends page. The Friends who like the Nathan Ivey Show page. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. Here it is. This is from my friends over at Fox 19. Bessie Sunday. They need to stop. Y'all want to hear this? Y'all want to see this? Matter of fact, let me get the audio of it. And that way we don't have any problems with the video. And then people can listen for themselves. Let me guess. She stepped down. She's going to talk about the gangified text messages, and she's going to talk about Tamir Denard and the culture of this and the culture of that. I think I pretty much got it. That pretty much hit everything. The culture of this, the culture of that. Jeff should step down. I'm sure that the party has somebody else in mind that they want to put in place for Jeff, and he should step down immediately. And I get it. Let me see. I'm going to grab this right now and try to play it. Not try to play it. I'm going to play it for you here. This is Bessie Sunderman today. She can never get my vote, but y'all do what y'all want to do. I'm sorry. I don't trust her. That's just me. Let me see.
And serves the people, not the politicians. In May, my team began working on a charter amendment with the law department, focused on making it possible to remove a member of council if they are charged with a crime involving corruption. I have the finished charter amendment right here. We've been working on it for 6 months. With public corruption growing, I will be submitting a more substantive anti-corruption charter amendment to the law department this week. The goal will be to restore confidence in government and throw back the curtain on city council to ensure much more transparency.
Who put her up to this?
When questions arose in March of this year, whether Ms. Denard would refuse to resign and attempt to remain in office, we quickly saw that our own city charter does not have a process to remove corrupt government officials. We are forced to rely on a tortured process dictated by state law through a citizen's petition through probate court. Cincinnati should have its own laws that are clear and bring about swift justice for its citizens. Our charter amendment will include the following: the ability to remove a member of council if he or she is convicted of a crime involving public corruption and preventing them from holding future office on Cincinnati City Council. The ability to suspend a member of council from casting votes or proposing legislation if charged with a felony or a crime of moral turpitude involving duties of their job on council. Paying restitution to the city for crimes committed against the city. The language for this charter amendment has to be written and approved as soon as possible. The people of Cincinnati need to know that we won't sit by and let corruption consume our city. I'm the right council member to do this because I have not been under investigation for ethical wrongdoing. I will be approaching each and every member of council this week, asking them to co-sponsor this amendment with me. And it shouldn't be a hard ask. If the culture of corruption continues unabated, it will be impossible for us to tackle the problems facing our 52 neighborhoods. So I ask my colleagues to join me in this amendment and end corruption. Questions?
Well, again, let me be honest with you and be clear. I mean, from what she just said, I don't have a problem with it. Go ahead and do it. Let's make it happen, Captain. It's not going to end corruption. It will address those who have demonstrated themselves to be corrupt. I got no problem with it. I mean, from what I just heard right there, that little snippet, okay, let's do it. Like I said, I'm in favor of a recall measure. We take your ass off city council. You get caught up with this stuff. And not just for corruption, there could be some other issues as well. So this sounds like it's along the same lines. And did you see her throw some shade to the so-called Gang of Five? I'm the right one to do this because I've never been under investigation for corruption. Okay, so who is this? Is this? Okay, so there it is. That was Bessie Sunderman, who I don't know. She follows me on Twitter, so we follow each other. I follow all the members of City Council, a lot of elected officials here. I want to know what they're doing and what they're tweeting. She follows me, but she won't come on the show. She won't respond to any of my messages. I guess I got to be Byron Thomas. If it's not white male radio, then she don't want to come on. I get it. I guess. But if and when we ever talk, whether it's now or some future forum, you better believe I'm going to bring up to her that op-ed piece that she wrote in the Inquirer some time ago when she was basically grandstanding off the pain and misery of gun violence victims, in particular black gun violence victims. I'm still pissed about that, Betsy. But again, from what I just heard there, I detect no issues. I got no problem with it. Great, let's do it. Okay, sounds like a good idea to me. You know, if you want to address corruption, great, let's address corruption. I do agree with her when she says that we here in the city should have a mechanism that deals with it. Now, if we already got that, it's outside my knowledge, then please set me straight. But if they want to deal with corruption and put these things in place, then go right ahead. My only issue with that is this, that in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. Somebody could accuse you of doing anything. You're supposed to lose your job just because of the accusation? Now, I don't anticipate this happening, but let's say what if? Let's say what if? And people say, well, the federal government, man, they roll in, and when they roll in, they always right. Well, yes and no. I was just reminded of an example of the Community Action Agency over the weekend. Remember that story about the Community Action Agency? Going back a few years ago, they rolled in and was doing an audit and asking a whole bunch of questions. Now, they didn't go as far as holding a press conference and nobody was charged. But in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Jeff Pastor beats these charges. I know, family, it's a stretch. I know. But let's say he does. Is he supposed to lose his job because he's fighting? Like I said, anyone watching me right now, somebody could accuse you of doing something right now that's completely false. Should you lose your job just because you've been charged with something? The police could knock on my door right now and say, hey, Mr. Nathan, we come with us, you're under arrest, you've been charged. Doesn't mean I've been guilty of anything. Just because you're charged with a crime does not mean you're guilty of the crime. The police don't decide guilt. They follow orders. It's the courts that do that. Jeff Pastor hasn't gone through a process yet. Now, if he cops a plea and admits to it, that's different. Now you are guilty. So that's my only issue with that. So how do you feel about that? You know, should a member of city council be kicked off of council or be removed from council because they are charged with a corruption crime? And well, let's stop there. Let's say you got a member of city council that's charged with murder. Let's say you got a city council member that's charged with domestic violence. Let's say you got a city council member that's charged with passing bad checks. Should they, just with the charge, be removed from council? I mean, I would say that you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. So if you're a member of city council, you're out here breaking crimes or whatever, the consequence could be you're no longer on city council. But I also think we should wait to determine that you're actually guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? Because just think of everybody who's ever been accused of something. At just the point of the accusation, you start dealing with the consequences as if you've been guilty. That don't seem right. That don't seem right to me. But at the same time, these members of city council up on a pedestal, they should be held more accountable to you and I because they're leaders among us. We give them extraordinary responsibilities and purview. Y'all down here creating laws that's going to impact everybody, so we should hold you to a different standard. I totally agree with that. But is that fair? And why start with corruption? Damn it, if you out here and you put your hands on another individual, let's say you're a male or female member of city council and you are charged with domestic violence, should you lose your council seat? Let's say you're a member of city council and you're out here passing bad checks and you know you didn't have no $150,000. You knew you didn't have that money in the bank when you did that, Mr. and Mrs. Council person. That's fraud. You're running scams. You know, they take that very, very seriously. You're messing with the money, right? So should they be kicked off and removed from council? You tell me. 513-873-7134. Now you tell me. Brent writes, there's just as many trolls in the chat as was out there in the Million MAGA March. Well, the trolls are attracted to media platforms, so I get it. Crystal writes, Nathan, turn on Fox 19 press conference. Thank you so much. Let me see. People are here on some nonsense. Somebody says, your black ass is going to get terminated. 7.2 million on your doorstep, brother. Okay, we see you. We see you. Simone writes, good morning, people of the sun. Good morning to you. John writes, slavery has been a part of this reality since history has been recorded. We take turns treating each other like ish. It's sad that this happens to any people, but don't forget the past. The Moors enslaved Europeans for 400 years. Egyptians enslaved their own people. There has been involuntary servitude for thousands of years. It's nothing new. Crystal writes, Bessie Sunderman is on some BS. Is she? Okay. I think Bessie Sunderman is grandstanding. I mean, I think what I want to hear from Bessie Sunderman is less about all this reactionary BS and how do you feel about some more of these kitchen table issues? Like for me, it's real easy for her to come out right now talking about, well, I haven't been under indictment or investigation for whatever. But again, maybe I'm cynical toward her. Maybe I'm being completely unfair. If that's me, then so be it. But it's like, yeah, okay, I hear you, sis, but I feel like you're just grandstanding. She does that a lot. You know, she was out there, she wrote an op-ed piece in the Inquirer grandstanding on the backs of the dearly departed gun victims, talking about, what was it she was talking about, the reimagining public safety? I'm like, why are you talking about that? Oh, reimagining public safety, they want to do away with our police force. Well, I'm standing with the police. So you're going to take this moment, Bessie Sunderman, to do that, and now she's taking this moment to do, And again, if she got some legislation that's serious, okay, that's what she's on council for. She was appointed. Nobody elected her to do that. But I guess she's going to use that to get re-election. Like Bessie Sunderman has already shown us who she is, in my opinion. That's what I think. Rachel writes, I'm so confused, Stefan. Are you confused, y'all? Oh, man. Arnell writes, hang up, Stefan. Damn. Derek writes, Nate's face says it all, did it? Man, hang up. Y'all wrong. Stefan for your rights. Stefan for mayor. Teresa writes, oh, when you're talking about the pigs, yeah, he lost me with that. I'm like, huh? I'm trying to, look at me trying to find sense in it. I'm like, is that a nutritional argument or a spiritual argument, right? I'm trying to help the brother out. I'm trying to make sense out of it. Let me call upon the black angels of Nigeria. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh, man. Simone writes, black people, please don't think that Kamala or Biden will change the way the world has been treating us. She right about that. Jonathan writes, y'all going hard, man. Leave Stefan alone, man. Y'all hilarious. Park Place writes, Proud Boys ain't going to do ish. A group of white boys carrying a defeated Army's flag, the Confederate flag, you know, the Army America beat in war, marching around America with guns saying they help and protect America. Effing dumbness. Kendall Clark writes, I don't think people believe that Biden or Kamala are the new saviors, but have hope things will change. The only thing they can change is policy. And then they can change the mood of the country by their, you know, just the platform of the being a presidency. We'll see. I feel like the salvation for black folks is right here in our own hands. That's what I think, but that's just me. Somebody says, don't engage the trolls. I mean, that's my attitude about it. I mean, they can troll on. Terrence writes, make the white electorate scared of a black man from holding them accountable. Absolutely. Crystal writes, Willie Horton-esque. The election, this is Yolanda. She writes, this election reminds me of when the circus performance is over and the clowns refuse to leave the stage. Really? It's like, no, we ain't going. It's like, no, this is the elephant's turn. It's like, we ain't leaving. We ain't leaving. We want 5 more minutes. Mimi writes, it has always worked in this country with these white folks. Yes, it has. Greg writes, an African-American political commentator, I follow him, Tim Black, told Biden to task again for the lead role Biden took in writing the crime bill in 1994. Will Biden put in policies now that will increase equity? Well, he's got an opportunity. And if he doesn't, they out of here in 2 years. Good morning, Barbara. Dion writes that he doesn't think that Fanon campaigned well. I think that it was more of a money issue. That's what I think. So what I would say is for anybody, you know, my thing would be, what did you do for the Fanon Rucker campaign? You know, rather than and I said this from the very beginning. I was very, very clear that Fanon Rucker to beat Joe Dieters, it was going to take more than people like me on social media and radio shows talking. Although this is a platform we meet thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people every single week and every single month. Right? During the last 3 months, nearly 100,000 people we've reached from that CDM page each and every month. So we're reaching a lot of people with the sum total of this show and all the shows together. And this show in particular is reaching thousands upon tens of thousands of people every single month. So that's important. You know, that has some weight to it, obviously. But as I said, family, for Fanon to beat Joe, he needed money and resources and volunteers. He needed a lot of things. So I'm not close enough to pick the bones. I mean, I'll leave that to Fanon and the people that were running his campaign. He would have a much better way of looking at it than I would. But I would say from where I sit right now, Dion, I would say it came down to money. Joe Dieters had money during those last 2 weeks to get on television. You know, I was told that he was on Hulu and everywhere else, all digital platforms. You know, you turn on Hulu to watch your favorite Hulu movie or whatever, boom, you see Joe Dieters. And then he had the power of being an incumbent. And then he had white fear. white suburban fear. I thought that Yvette Simpson, again, go back and check it out, the Is It Just Me podcast, because Donnie brought that up to her. I thought that Yvette, with her experience and knowledge, brought some very interesting critiques to the game. And again, I mean, I'll go by what she said. I mean, I think it makes sense just in terms of, you know, the way that the campaign was run in particular and those that were running it. I thought it was some spot on. To me, it rings true to me. You know, what do I know? You know, but it seemed to be very true to me, you know, what Yvette said. So I'll run with that. I'll rest it on that. It made a lot of sense. It just made a lot of sense. So I think in any election, whenever you lose, you should sit down and think, damn, what could we do differently? And maybe they can think, well, we should have did this, we should have did that. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. Hindsight's 20/20. But I think it came down to money. I think it came down to money. Maurice writes, Joe Dieters used drug money, did he? That would be, I don't know, it seems like it might be improper and illegal. Dion writes, Democrats voted for Dieters. Well, did they? Again, I haven't looked at those numbers. I'm not even sure all the numbers are ready and available. I'll do that, and that'll give us some indication as to whether white Democrats voted for Dieters and or whether they didn't vote at all in that election. I don't know yet. I don't know. There's smarter minds than me. Mimi writes, they have been using that fear in whites for centuries. Yeah, they're using it big time now, Mimi. And it works. That's why they use it, because it works. I'm not suggesting, to my Republican friends, do what you do. To the people that run to help Joe Dieters win, I'm sure they had a beer. Maybe a lot of beers. I'm sure they had a lot of beers and celebrated with Joe. And some wine and some shots too. But, hey, to the spoils go to the victor go the spoils. It is what it is. It is what it is. As I said before, the con in chief will lose and he'll say it was fraud. And all his losers' followers will fall in. Nat, you were right. You're absolutely right about that. And nobody's surprised about him. Danita writes, while Democrats voted for Dieters because they heard defund the police, that saying killed Democrats across the country. We understand that defund the police means reallocate, but the Republicans rang the bell that it meant fire police and hire social workers and crime will be rampant. Democrats across the country did not change that narrative and it hurt them. I think she's 100% spot on that. I agree completely. And we can kind of see the writing on the wall before the election. I had a brother on that wrote a couple of books that I'm really, really a fan of. And I asked him that question, because there was a lot being written about it. Is this defund? Just how smart politically was this by Republican strategists, quite honestly. Let's give props where props are due. That was super smart for them to use that. They used the social unrest and the defund the police mantra against their Democrat opponents. And it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm in some of these races. It worked like a charm here in Hamilton County. I think it says something about the particular nature of Hamilton County voters, quite honestly. But in some of these races, that's why they all used it. They all used it. Hoffpower used it. All the Republicans, most of the Republicans used that. Defund the police, defund the police. Oh, they want to get rid of the police force. Well, if without a police force, then the angry black and brown hordes from the ghetto are going to rise up and come to your cul-de-sac and steal everything you have. And they're going to take your girlfriend and your daughter too. They used it like a charm. It worked like a charm. So you can't get mad at Republican strategists because that's what they get paid to do. They get paid to help their folks win. And they worked. And she's right. They should have changed the narrative. But by that time, it was hard to change the narrative because a lot of people, they like things simple. And so, again, go back to that sheriff's race. This is the reason why Bruce Hoffbauer, during the NAACP virtual town hall, doubled down on not going to talk with the so-called protesters. Because the game plan was to pit all of the protesters as defund the police and any Democrat, candidates as their sympathizers that will enable them to take over the cul-de-sac and take over the neighborhoods. That's why Bruce didn't do that. So, oh no, I ain't going down there. If I go down there, then it might blow my deal. it didn't work for him because he could have unarmed black men back in the 90s. And I think that story had an impact and energized a lot of voters. And then, I mean, he just wasn't a better candidate in my opinion, but it is what it is. Damon writes, he's thinking of Soros. Yes, he is. Jacqueline writes, BLM because Lucifer manipulates? What? Maurice writes, Joe Dieters is a Klan member. He only wants to lock up people of color. That's a strong accusation, Maurice. You're entitled to your opinion. I have never come across any information to say that Joe Dieters is a Klan member. I get what you're saying, but I think that's a really strong accusation. I'm going to stop short of that in lieu of any real evidence. I mean, if we have some evidence that is, well, I'll run with it. But I don't have any evidence that he's a Klan member. If you mean Klan member as if you don't think he's he doesn't necessarily represent the best interests of non-white people. I get what you're saying. But as a literal Klan figure, I don't have any information that Joe Dieters is a literal Klan figure. Let me see. Elizabeth writes, anybody who wants to work towards humanity for all is cool with me too. Right. I'm all about coalitions and coalescing. I've got criticized on this show by black folks who say, oh, they don't rock with us. I'm like, well, damn, then we don't work with the people that don't want to work with us. We just work with the people that want to work with us. You know what I'm saying? If you build a coalition, and then people talk all that ish. I've heard people talk that black stuff and then be like, well, then they don't want to work. But then as soon as somebody non-black knocks on your door and says, I think you're doing a good job, I want to help you out, you're going to say thank you. Come on in here. And I'm just real about it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm building a coalition, black, white, green, Asian, you can be a former Karen and Darren, but now you've seen the light. Come on in. Come on in, because it takes a big tent to get anything done, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It don't change the movement. Like, if the movement is equity, policy, and tangibles for black folks, then you got to get on board with that. We ain't going to change that. But you don't have to be a black person to work for the betterment of black people. And again, I make this point, I know some black folks don't like it, that's not our history. That's not our history. There's been non-black people that came in board, put their life on the line, died for the cause to make sure we got the right to vote, died because they was married to black people, died, lost jobs, sympathizers. We can't overlook that like it hasn't happened. I refuse to. I'm not going to do that. Y'all can do what you want to do. I refuse to do it. Jacqueline writes, Trump 2020, divide and conquer. It almost worked. Veronica writes, and it's your time to fall on your asses. I know that's right. Kalisha writes, there are no longer the majority and they hate it. Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing from these folks, family, and I got to make a move here. I wanted to leave at 9:30, but I'll be with you till 10, 6 more minutes. But what we're seeing here is a lot of white fright. People are afraid. They've been comfortable with the old America. What's happening in this new world is scaring the hell out of them. And I don't know if we can talk sense to them and say, hey, listen, and put their fears at rest. I'm not sure what that would take. I think there should be an attempt by certain folks to do that. Maybe not you or me. But I don't think we should paint everybody with a broad brush who are even inside the Trump camp. There's some people there because of the racism. There's some people there because of the fear. There's some people there because it lines their pockets, like Bob Johnson, billionaire and former or founder of BET. He's running around on cable news talking about how he thinks 4 more years of Trump would be good for black people. In what universe, Bob Johnson? Clearly, and I thought Roland Martin called him out perfectly. I don't need to do no more. And very, very well. And clearly he's thinking through his pocketbooks. As a billionaire, he's thinking about taxes and things like that. I get it. But for you and I, we're talking about kitchen table issues. That's a little different. So I think it'd be a mistake to paint all the Trump supporters with the same brush. Just like I think it's a mistake to paint all of the black community with the same brush. I think that's a mistake. And we'll see what happens. Keep your guard up. Don't be like Earl, what's his name? It's not Earl Pitts, but Earl Price. Don't be like Earl Price and drop your guard, because somebody might slip it. That was funny times, man. Damn. Like I was close to the edge on politics. I mean, for many reasons, I enjoyed the whole political season. Looking forward to the next one. We had some good times during that election, man. That Earl Price conversation is instant classic Nathan Ivey Show. Classic. Man. You want to hear a black man yabba dabba do? Boy. Woo! Man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall on the first day when Charmaine McGuffey addresses the whole troops and Earl Price is there. That's going to be priceless. Could I say? That's going to be a priceless moment. What now, Earl? That's going to be hilarious. I wish I could be there. Letty writes, Sunderman is a part of corruption. Do not trust that snake. I give everybody an opportunity to be who they going to be. I give Betsy Sunderman an opportunity to be the best city council person she is. I wish her the best. I really do. Because if she's successful, hopefully, in doing something great for the city, that means great for everybody else. What I see so far, I don't like. I don't like. But it is what it is. I don't have to like it. She can't get my vote. Like right here today, she can't get my vote. Now between now and next year, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, she might say something that makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can rock with this. But right here, right now, no. Can't do it. Can't do it. Crystal writes, nah, she's going to court. Rosalind writes, peace to the people. Check out the Crown series. Okay. What's the Crown series? David writes, violin music. Yo writes, she sounds irritating. Fast Pitch writes, sounds feels like Smitherman-ish to me. Smitherman-ish? New term, Smitherman-ish? It does, actually. Terry writes, is that Sunderman? Yes, it is. Danita writes, how do you remove someone for something you are charged with, not found guilty of? That is in direct conflict with the Constitution. Americans are innocent until proven guilty. This charter is unconstitutional. See, there it is. That's what I said. I hadn't even read that yet, Danita. Yeah, my first impulse is, I agree. We should have mechanisms to remove people who are guilty of corruption. But being accused of a crime? Well, damn, Betsy, that means that, let's say somebody steps up and accuses Betsy Sunderman of doing something. Should she be removed from city council? No. I would say no. I would say that even members of council, even though they're up on a pedestal and we should hold them more accountable or be super sensitive in terms of our accountability to them, you shouldn't lose your job over an accusation. You should lose your job because you did it. And I feel the same way about Jeff Pastor. Like, Cranley's talking about how he's going to get the state involved and they're going to get the Supreme Court of Ohio involved. And I'm like, I'm with that. But Jeff Pastor hasn't been convicted. I said the same thing about Tamai Denard. They haven't been convicted of anything. They've been accused of something. That's it. So let's not pump the brakes. That's why I say Betsy Sunderman is grandstanding. And once again, she's willing to grandstand off of black bodies. She was doing it with the gun victims here a couple months ago with that op-ed piece in the Cincinnati Enquirer. And now she's doing it again, dancing on the body of Tamai Denard and Jeff Pastor. And I see it for what it is. I would have had more respect for her if she did it. And she said she'd been working on it for months. So perhaps and I think about it, she did start this after Tamai Denard. So this ain't necessarily new to Jeff. This is something I think she started when this thing happened with Tamai Denard. So, okay, I get it. Brian writes, so you lose powers if charged? That is a dangerous president. Okay, so now I'm catching up with the chat. So a lot of us agree on that. That's dangerous. You're going to lose your seat just because you get charged with something? What about a DUI? What about any offense? That's dangerous to me, family. I don't think I can get with that. Listen, I got to make a move. Thank you for being here. I'll be back with you, and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. We'll chop it up at 7:30 a.m. And again, please like and share this podcast. Even after we're into the show, a lot of people are not going to see it. But if everybody on the stream right now shares this, man, listen, you'll push this show to boundaries I couldn't even imagine. All right, so push the show this morning. This is something new. This is something independent. This is something fresh. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, powered by CDM, Sin Digital Media. Check us out on Facebook and check out our other podcasts. More voices are coming. My mission is simple. Amplify Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. If you know someone who's doing a podcast, perhaps we can rock together. Perhaps we can monetize together. I've been successful at monetizing this podcast for the last 4 years online, and we could do it together. Maybe you got an idea. Maybe we can develop something together. I'm all about collaboration. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork makes the dream work. Nobody achieves anything by themselves. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Nobody does it by themselves. Everybody has good people to come in like, oh, I rock with this dude, or I rock with this person right here. Okay, great. So if you can get behind that, if you like this kind of content, then please share. Join the movement. Perhaps become a patron this morning. Patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show, as we raise resources and funds to build out CDM. And again, this is just the beginning, family. I really appreciate everybody for being here. And my plan is to be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning at 7:30. My guest will be Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize-winning Black male columnist. We'll be talking about current events from his own perspective. Don't miss it. And you never know who we'll be talking with on the Nathan Ivey Show, right? Have an excellent rest of your day. Viva La Chapas. Shout out to Team NI. My link tree is in the description, so you can connect with me on any level, on any platform. And we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
David, you are hilarious. Some of these comments, I'm still here, Nate, with you. Some of these comments are hilarious. I accused John from Florida of treason for not voting. Hilarious.